welcome back. I am your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
Here with the group, Jim Leahy, Deborah Schreiner, and this is one of my favorite segments of the show.
That's right. We're going to go right into
blog
it.
segment. The blog. The blog. It's the music.
It's the blog.
It's the music of the blog that I like so much.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is true. That is right. If you hear that music, you know the blog segment's right around the corner. And this is the segment where attorney Stephen Leahy talks about his
practice. My law practice. I have a law practice.
Thank you for line.
What I want to talk about this week is liens after bankruptcy. And why I want to talk about it is because so many people just don't understand what and I can explain it 100 times and still people have a problem understanding it. Okay. So first I would talk about different types of liens. 3 important types. There's your mortgage, right? Okay. That's a lien on your home. And when people sometimes will have what they call an equity line of credit. That is also a lien on your home. It's a secured claim.
LOC.
Yes. HELOC, some people call them. Home equity line of credit. These are called HELOCs. And people say, oh, no, I don't have a second mortgage. I have a HELOC. That's a second mortgage. It's a lien on your home. The other one I want to talk about is IRS liens. Of course, when I file bankruptcy for people, many of them have IRS liens. Go figure, because those are the people I'm helping. And then the third type of lien I'm going to talk about is what they call a judicial lien. And what that is that's when somebody sues you and then they get a judgment against you in court. And then they can file that with the county, and then they have a lien against anything, a judgment lien. And so first off, I have people that I helped file bankruptcy some years ago, and now they're trying to sell their house, or they're falling behind again. And I have to tell them, well, you don't owe on your home anymore. Well, what do you mean? I've been paying my mortgage, and I don't understand. I have the second mortgage out there. I got to pay it. I have to tell them, no, right? When you file bankruptcy, a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, remember, now there's 2 types of protection. First one's what they call Chapter 7, and the title of Chapter 7 is liquidation. So what happens under Chapter 7 liquidation is all your assets are sold, and then the proceeds of that sale are used to pay your creditors, all or a portion of what their claims are. In a vast majority of cases, there aren't any assets above that level of exemptions allowed by law. So almost everybody who files a Chapter 7 bankruptcy doesn't lose anything, and their debts are discharged. So what people don't understand is that even though you have a house and you're paying your mortgage, if you don't reaffirm the debt, which means you sign another agreement after the bankruptcy and say, I'm going to be responsible for that debt, you're not responsible personally for that debt any longer.
That just seems like a lot. Because, you got to keep signing things.
I agree. But here's what it is. Now, I don't sign a reaffirmation. I'm not liable for that debt anymore. And it's, what do you mean? They can still take my house. The answer is yes, they can still take your house because they have a lien on the house. But if there's a deficiency, which is the difference between what they sell it for and what you owe them, they could never come after you for that deficiency because you've been discharged in bankruptcy. So this happens with the second mortgages that, years ago when the value of the homes fell underneath the first mortgage, people would just not pay their second mortgage. And we've talked about this before on the show. People won't pay the second mortgage. And then they say, well, it's gone. No, it's not gone. I filed bankruptcy, so I don't owe it anymore. That's true. You don't owe it anymore, but they still have a lien on your house. So they could still foreclose if the home gets to be of greater value. Or if you try to sell your house, you have to come up with some agreement with them in order to get them off of the title, because you have a cloud on your title, and you can't sell the house unless you get that cloud removed, and the only way you could do that is work with those that had the lien on the house to get rid of it. Okay, so that's the first type of lien, and that's what most people get very confused about how that all works. The second type of lien is what they call
I'm confused.
The IRS lien. So now I owe the IRS a lot of money. We've talked about that some debts on the IRS, and on the show we've talked about some debts you owe to the IRS are dischargeable in bankruptcy. Okay, it means if I file bankruptcy, I won't owe them anymore. But it's very similar to the mortgage lien. just because I filed bankruptcy, if the IRS had a lien against me, that lien survives. Okay, so
this all seems pretty confusing.
I understand. But so this is where it really comes into play, though, is say I have a lot of money in a 401k. Well, 401ks under bankruptcy law are protected from your creditors. Your creditors can't take your 401k away from you, but the IRS can. And so even if I file bankruptcy and I get discharged of that loan, of that debt, the lien still remains, and the IRS can still go after my IRA. And this gets very, it can be
very messy.
It can be very disheartening to people that think that they're going to walk away from their debt, and then they wind up that the IRS starts going off after their IRA, and I thought I was going to walk away from this debt, but there's ways to get around that to stop the IRS from going around. I think I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that next week where I'll talk specifically about avoiding
Make a note of
IRS
that. Make a note of
lien
that. We need to talk about that.
on your 401k after bankruptcy.
Debbie, remember that.
Because it becomes very important.
She's group.
Now, the third type of lien I'm going to talk about is what they call a judicial lien, as I mentioned, and that's someone that gets a judgment against you. So I owed, maybe I owed whatever. Whoever I owed,
pick a number, number,
and they sue me. I lose. Say it's my credit card, and I owed them $10,000, and they get a judgment against me for $10,000, and then they file a judicial lien in my county. Well, that kind of lien I can get removed if I have to bring a motion in court and show that it's impairing my exemptions. So as long as everything I have is protected, and as I mentioned, almost always everything you have is protected. So if I could prove that to the judge, and I can bring a motion in front of the court and say, please remove this lien, and they will remove a judicial lien. Now again, IRS lien they won't remove, a mortgage lien they won't remove, but a judicial lien they will remove. They can get that removed. But you have to take different action, additional action than just filing bankruptcy.
I want to use that every time.
Do what?
The judicial. I want to get that absolved every time.
Well, again, you should. And some people don't even know they have it. Some attorneys don't do the due diligence to find out if there's a lien against you.
That's what's great about open tax resolution right there. You guys do the due diligence.
That's right. Exactly.
312-664-6649.
That's right. So you have to know the whole situation so you know what to do to solve that situation. And I had a client come in this week that wants to file a Chapter 13, and they just canceled his case. They just dismissed his case, and he thinks he just didn't think he was well served with his attorney. And I have to kind of agree with him in that, given what I saw. That you need somebody that's involved in your case that's going to do what needs to be done. Like, for instance, bring motions when they have to bring home. So if you're in Chapter 13 and you want to sell your home, you have to get permission from the court to sell your home. In a lot of Chapter 13 cases, you have to give your tax returns every year, and any tax refund you get, you have to give to the trustee. A lot of people don't really understand that, and then they get their case dismissed because they don't follow that rule. And so it's incumbent upon the attorney to make sure that everybody understands.
Again, that's what's so important, though, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you get an attorney. Doesn't matter if it's Attorney Stephen Leahy. Well, we would like if you did that.
That's true.
But let's be honest. Always make sure you have an attorney. There's nothing better than when you have an attorney on your side, especially when the IRS comes after you. And they're able to defend you. They're able to help you. They're on your side.
The problem with bankruptcy is that a lot of attorneys who don't do a lot of bankruptcies and really don't understand them, they do them anyway, and they don't really know. They can't really give you good advice because they don't do a lot of these cases and they don't really understand what the law is. And so they just file the case and then they're done with it. And sometimes that's not enough. And so you got to get someone with some experience and has done a lot of these cases and understands how to do it. But anyway, that's the same thing with taxes. Same thing with no matter what kind of law you're looking to pass. Remember when we have a a nursing home negligence case, we have a guy for that. You get hurt, I got a guy for that. So anyway, I hope that answers.
There was an old lady who lived in a shoe. Yes. The IRS came after someone like you. So Attorney Stephen Leahy stood up and said, call me 312-664-6649. I can't say the rest of it. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember ChicagoTaxTeam.com as well. That's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. That was off the cuff. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember, 312-664-6649 if you have that particular situation or if you know someone who does. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let Perry Mason take it away, but stay tuned because after the commercial break, more IRS Radio Hours coming at you here on AM 560, The Answer.